Today, I want to engage you about a topic that is very relatable to us all. Today, I want us to look at COVID-19. No, today we're not going to talk about how COVID-19 has affected the world negatively. Today, we're not going to be looking at any conspiracy theories in relation to COVID-19. Today, we're not even going to talk about how COVID-19 is now shaping the direction of the world. Today, we're going to look at COVID-19 and you. How has COVID-19 affected your life? How has COVID-19 affected your livelihood? How has COVID-19 helped you to propel? And so we're going to be looking at our ability to thrive even during a pandemic situation. Now, COVID-19, we are all aware of what it does and what it is still doing. And what we're not aware of is how long it will continue to do what it is doing. But as individuals, we have to take charge of our life. And let me give you an example, one that is very real and one that hit home for me. I was in Spain in January, and immediately after leaving Spain in January, I was informed about COVID-19 and the effects and what is happening in China and what could possibly happen. And then March, my company that I worked for had to close its doors because of COVID-19. And let me tell you, when you're struck suddenly with a situation that puts your backs against the wall, you find yourself sinking into the abyss of nothingness. You find yourself believing that there's no way for you to survive because a situation has just uprooted your livelihood without even a warning. And that is what happened to me. I realized that for the 2 months that I spent home, 2 days, the first 2 days, I was home. I was thinking about, okay, how it is that I'm going to be able to still be productive. How am I going to be able to still provide? How am I going to be able to still live? And so I was, what I want to call, I was engaged in self-pity, asking myself why this had to happen to me. And then suddenly I realized that, listen, this did not just happen to you. This happened to the world. And if it is that you want to succeed, you have to get up, brush off, and see how best you can work around this situation. And many of us have done that. Let me bring you home to what I'm talking about. We all have varying skills, and when we are employed to an organization, we become immersed into that organization. Yes, of course, this is our livelihood. This is what is paying our bills. This is what is allowing us to enjoy some form of entertainment. This is what is allowing us to participate productively in our country. And so our innate skills that we would have had becomes dormant. Many a times we're at work, we're too busy. We're too busy to stop for a moment. We're too busy to smell the roses. We're too busy to even recognize that we have roses growing in our gardens. We are just too busy. And so with the onset of COVID, it allowed us to pause, and then it allowed us to stop. And when we stop, we realize that there were many things that is happening around us that needed our attention as well. When we stopped, we realized that we had skills that we could use to be more productive. When we stopped, we realized what really truly matters. Not our jobs that we go to from 9 to 5, and sometimes we turn a 9 to 5 into a 9 to 11 p.m. and forget our homes. We realize that, yes, the pandemic is a situation that has caused many persons to lose their lives, and for that we are very sad about. But while we are living, those who are living, we have an opportunity to decide whether or not we are going to sit down and allow this to take over our entire livelihood, or we are going to work around it to ensure that we continue to succeed. During the pandemic, I realized that my skills, like many of us, became dormant, and it was now time for me to revive those skills, as now I have the time. I too was too busy. I too was too busy to realize what really mattered for me. I was submerged in work. I was at work as long as the day can allow me or could allow me to be. And with the onset of COVID, and now I have this time, all this time at home, I decided that I'm going to do something with myself, with my skills, to rise above this pandemic, and not to sit and let it decide or determine how I cope, not to sit and let it decide and determine how I survive. If we decide that we are going to be strong amidst despair, if we decide that we are going to be strong amidst destruction, if we decide that we are going to be strong amidst COVID-19 pandemic, we can. Because do remember that the only thing standing in your way is you. The only thing blocking your success is you, and not the peripherals, just you. How you decide to ensure that you keep abreast with what it is that you need to continue to be successful, to continue to enjoy your livelihood. I want to hear your experience as it relates to the onset of COVID-19. Be sure to use the chat box to have a discussion with me. Once you are discussing your experience, be sure to tell me where you're from so we can give you a shout out on the next engagement that we will have with you. We can give you a shout out, and let's share how it is that we have used this time to shape our lives, to mold our lives, and to be successful. While we know that prior to COVID-19, we didn't have the time to do much of what we wanted to do for ourselves. We didn't have the time to use our skills. Now is the time. We have a lot of time now to really evaluate what it is that we can do to be successful at life. This is the time for us to tap into or to find our own niche in the market. And this market I'm talking about is the market of success. This is a time for us to find our own niche to ensure that we too are enjoying success, and not if we continue to sit and wait for our organization to open, it might never reopen. If we continue to sit and wait for vaccine in order to, believe that we're safe again, we might not ever be safe again. Your state of mind and what you can do in a situation like this is very important. I continue to share my experience. So I explained to you that for the first 2 days of 2 months, I was submerged in self-pity. On the third day, I realized that what I was doing was wrong. On the third day, I realized that what I was doing was a part of what this pandemic really thrives on. Sadness, death, insecurities, unsureties, all the negative connotations. And so I decided to be positive, and I began to evaluate my skills to see how I can engage and still be productive. I wasn't really considering earning just yet, because first you have to build, then you have to implement, and then you have to continue to work and implement and go back to the structure to see if the structure is that you've built is strong enough in order to ensure that you're earning. So it's a process. But during the process, I had a friend that said to me, well, not everybody can be an entrepreneur. We all cannot be an entrepreneur, which is true. But who determine who can and who determine who can't? If we all sit and decide that, listen, we all can't be an entrepreneur, and so I'm not going to try at it, you'll be failing yourselves. And so I turned to my colleague and I said, well, true, we all cannot be an entrepreneur, but can you determine who can be an entrepreneur and who can't by just sitting and looking? No, we have to try at it. And so I decided that I'm going to, try to do something with the time that COVID has given me. It wasn't given to me by my organization. It was given to me by COVID-19. So I said, okay, I am going to try to use this time to build on my skills, to share and to inspire and to motivate myself to continue to have that frame of mind that is needed to be successful. And that's just what I did. Of course, I did not stay home for the entire 2 months. I was called back to work. You see, I work in the tourism industry. And yes, when I was called back to work, my organization was still not open to tourists just yet, but we were preparing to open. And so part of the preparation was to engage our team members in what is now called the new normal and what is expected of them during the new normal as it relates to safety of self and others. But then I realized that now that I've returned to work, I am so excited about continuing with I'm still in the building stage, right? The foundation is still not completely set. So I'm still in the building stage. But I found out that I have this renewed energy to continue to build on my skills. Because listen, once you realize that you are capable, you don't want to lose it. You don't want to retract. You don't want to forget. You want to move forward. And yes, while moving forward, you will have stumbling blocks. And as I say, stumbling blocks are to be used as stepping stones, because nothing is going to be perfect. And your path to success is not always going to be smooth, if it is ever smooth. Right? So your path to success is a path that is going to try you, and that trial is building you to be resilient. And this is how I want you to view COVID. I want you to view COVID-19 as a trial towards being successful, towards building your resilience towards anything in life. Now, it is hard for us to think about all the positive things that we can possibly think about when we have so many things happening. And if you look around yourselves, you realize that you have to get with the time. Because if you look around, you will realize that COVID-19 is shaping how the organization engage. COVID-19 is shaping how we operate. And if you continue to sit at home and wait for the passing of COVID-19 to return in the same old situation, you're going to fail. Because while you're at home, while you're paused for a bit, the entire world is redesigning its operation. So wouldn't it make sense for you to redesign how you operate as well? Yes, it would, because it means that if you are not redesigning how you operate, you're not going to be able to flourish in a redesigned world. I want you to have that mindset. Let us not try to engage in discussions that is going to cause us despair. Let us not try to engage in discussion that is going to cause us to believe that nothing is going to be possible for us and this is it for us. Let us engage in discussions with each other that is going to uplift each other, that is going to share with each other how we can help to ensure that we are not permanently halted by COVID-19. And when I say permanently halted, what I mean is we have this opportunity to look at how our lives is being affected right now. And if we allow this pandemic to kind of settled in our system or settle in our system in a way where we feel as though, okay, this is what this pandemic is about and this is not what my life is about, in a negative way, it is going to affect us permanently. Remember that I said the only person that is standing between you and your success is you. So your actions, your decisions, your determination will determine how it is that you move forward. Your actions, your decisions will determine what it is that you're going to do to ensure that you rise above this pandemic. Let me hear from you. How have you been shaping your lives? How have you been using the time that COVID has given you to do some self-evaluation, to see how it is that you can be productive for self, to see how it is you can use your skills that you have so long ignore, to see how it is that you can help somebody else to be positive. We're going to look at some steps in remaining relevant, in remaining successful, in chartering your success, in directing your path towards realizing your goals. The first step I want to share with you is to be positive with your endeavor towards success. You have to stay true to your cause. You have to remain positive. Realistic, yes, but positive. And when you remain positive, when you're faced with challenges, it makes it much easier for you to overcome these challenges, for you to deal with these challenges in order to reach your ultimate goal. Remain true to your cause. Do not harbor negative thoughts. If you enter the path, or if you start the path, if you commence the path with a mixture of negative feelings and unsurety, then you might as well turn back, recoup, and restart. Because once you enter the path with doubts, then you're setting up yourself to fail. And as I say, as I talk about setting up self to fail, it takes me to the second step that I want to share with you, and that is to be persistent. Be persistent at your decision towards being successful, towards rising above despair. Success is the decision to end failure. Remember, success and failure works. If you didn't have failure, you wouldn't have success. But it's the attitude that you have towards being successful that will eradicate failure. So be persistent towards achieving your goal. Importantly, you have to evaluate the key towards being successful is evaluating your decisions, your steps, your goals, the process. And so this is the third step that I want to share with you. Do an evaluation of the process. Sure, it is that you might think that what you're doing is the best way it can be done. And so once you've implemented it, you continue on the path. But if it is that you do not evaluate your process, it means that you will not be able to identify any type of challenge that might deter the success. And so when you evaluate your process, you're preparing yourself to be successful. When you evaluate your process, you are being proactive rather than reactive. So you are able to put in measures. You're able to you're able to evaluate the entire process towards ensuring that any negative or any failure that could possibly come, you can deal with it. The next step is to be driven and stay true to the cause. You have to be driven. We are aware of the various type of motivation. You have intrinsic motivation and you have extrinsic motivation. That is another topic that we will discuss. But you have to be driven. You have to be motivated. You have to stay true to your cause. You have to believe in your cause, because it is that drive that is going to propel you towards being successful. And my last step for you is to have fun. Whatever it is that you decide to do, you must ensure that is something that you enjoy. Because if you're engaged into a process that you do not enjoy, you're going to fail. If you engage into a process that you do not enjoy, you are not going to be driven. You're not going to stay true to the cause. It is going to be frustrating. So whatever it is that you're doing, ensure that you have fun. If it is that you are an individual that whenever your friends or colleagues are around you, just by you engaging them, they're always laughing, then probably you need to be a stand-up comedian. If it is that you're an individual where whenever you have house parties, whenever you have family get-together, you're the one who is cooking and persons are always enjoying your meal, then perhaps you need to be a chef. If it is that you're an individual where you're very dramatic, you are able to entertain, perhaps it is that you need to be an actor or an actress. So I'm saying whatever innate skills that you have, because sometimes it's our colleagues and our friends around us that help us to decide how we're going to use our skills to be successful, right? So you need to evaluate yourself, look at the skills that you have, look at the things that you do and you truly enjoy. If it is that you're somebody who talks a lot, and when you speak, people want to listen to you, and when you speak, you motivate people, then probably you need to be a motivational speaker. So evaluate your skills, look at the simple things that you do and people enjoy what you do, and turn it into a business. Turn it into something that will help you to propel yourself towards success. Try at it, but ensure that you have fun, because if you don't have fun in what you do, you will not remain true to the cause. I hope I would have been able to engage you in a different way. I hope I would have been able to allow you to see the different side of COVID-19, because it is a pandemic, really and truly, that should have allowed us to do some self-evaluation, should have allowed us to be more humble, should have allowed us to have respect in a different type of way, should have allowed us to understand that nothing is impossible and to reshape our direction in life. So while it has caused so much pain, I hope I was able to bring forth the fact that it should cause you success as well. But it all depends on your action and attitude towards this situation, this pandemic. I want to hear from you. Use our chat box, communicate with me, let me know how it is that you have decided to propel yourself towards being successful. Let me know your steps, because what I've shared with you, those are my steps, in my opinion. Let me know your steps that you believe you can take towards remaining relevant and being successful and staying motivated during this time of the pandemic. It was truly a pleasure sharing with you today, and I hope I have motivated, engaged, and inspired.